college, I often get asked, what are you doing after graduation? What kind of job do you want? And what kind of company do you want to work for? I have two very contrasting images when I am asked these kinds of questions. I have mental images of myself working in New York at a corporate office where I report to a supervisor, sit in meetings, work overtime, and work my way up to a higher position. I also have images of myself working at a startup with a creative workplace with no real set area to work or a desk area, where I'm allowed to spend my day however I want, as long as I get my work done by the end of the day. As I started thinking about these two contrasting images, I wondered, what makes a place to work set like this? The answer, it's the organizational culture. Organizational culture is defined as the shared assumptions, values, and beliefs that shape the attitudes and behavior of organizational members. The culture of a company is about recognizing, reinforcing, and rewarding the mindsets and behaviors that you seek in your organization. As shown by Simon Sinek, the Golden Circle, understanding the why allows for the values of a company to be shared by each and every employee. Likewise, understanding the culture of a company allows individuals to understand the way that they act and the policies that are in place. A large part of organizational culture is how groups in a company operate and how they deal with conflict. It is important that in any scenario, especially in organizational culture, to recognize that the true key to success is through communication. There are two main rules of thought when it comes to the structure of teams. They're centralized and decentralized. Centralized is like my first image of a workplace. There's usually one leader, fewer messages of communication and changes. The second image is decentralized. This structure strives on open communication and input from many individuals. What's important to focus on is that any structure or workplace is the importance of management. It sets the tone for the rest of the company, including the customers and the employees. There are three main outcomes of highly effective cultures. There's the direction, the alignment, and the commitment. These outcomes feed into things like talent acquisition, how long employees stay, the socialization, leadership, training, and reward systems. It leaves the question, what exactly should I be looking for in management when joining the job hunt? Research concludes that there are 8 common traits of highly effective teams that you should look for when joining the job hunt. These things are clear goals, results-driven structure, competent team members, unified commitment, collaborative climate, standards of excellence, external support, recognition, and principled leadership. In order to have a clear goal, groups must have one singular purpose for why they're doing what they're doing. In order to have engaged employees, a company needs to focus on their purpose and values. This allows for working conditions, relationship with managers, customer service, compensation, and benefits to be consistent throughout the company. This in turn creates a work environment in which employees and managers have a mutually beneficial and productive work experience. When I think about companies that have great culture, I always think of Google. They have amazing work campuses with creative outlets such as slides, and they use tech in their office. It sounds like a utopia. One thing that people don't usually talk about is their leadership and organizational culture. A few years ago, 2011 to be exact, the New York Times released an article about Google's efforts in trying to build a better boss. In this case, Google followed a very important rule from Stephen Covey, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is to first seek to understand, then to be understood. The company reviewed performance reviews and surveys to articulate data. They not only used this data for positive things, but they also did it to find out what isn't working. The result? 8 good behaviors of bosses, as well as the pitfalls of managers. The 8 good behaviors are: be a good coach, empower your team, express interest, be productive, be a good communicator, help others with career development, have a clear vision, and key skills to help others. All of these behaviors are very similar to the 8 traits that I spoke about earlier. They focus on the management style and how to interact with employees to be productive and have a positive work environment. The company also went an extra step. They outlined what not to do, such as have trouble making a transition, lack a consistent approach, and spend too little time managing and communicating. They stress the importance of transitioning, as they say, people hired outside the organization don't always understand the unique aspect of managing at Google. The last one is imperative to a successful group, which is communication. Google stresses communication is a two-way street and it is imperative to innovative ideas. No two companies look alike, which is why it is important to understand the foundations of management and the importance of organizational culture. So I can leave you with this. Most successful companies keep in mind the 8 common traits of highly effective teams. Clear goals, results-driven structure, competent team members, unified commitment, collaborative climate, standards of excellence, external support and recognition, and principal leadership. Be sure to keep an eye out for these behaviors when starting the job hunt. It may just make finding your first job post-grad that much easier.